Level 1, the free one. The first drink you ever love is free. You're 22. 4 days into a warehouse job at Heartline Building Supply. It's 4:58 on a Friday afternoon when the forklifts go quiet. Someone says one word. Riley's. And somehow, that's enough. The bar is only 2 blocks from the loading dock. Close enough that nobody actually decides to go. You just follow. Kowalski, the floor manager, buys the new guy's first beer. Nobody wrote that rule down. Nobody had to. The glass is cold. The room is loud. And you've had beer before. Parking lots. Basements. Warm cans that tasted like punishment. This one comes with a seat. A nickname by the second round. And Kowalski telling a story about a forklift and a pallet of grout like you were there. By the second telling. You almost were. And here's the part nobody says out loud. The part that will take you 19 years to understand. It works. 2 beers in. The knot in your chest loosens. The one you've carried for so long that you assumed it was just part of being alive. You're funnier, quicker, more relaxed. The distance between you and everyone else disappears. Whatever this is. It costs $6 a glass. And somehow, it fixes something you never knew was broken. On the walk home, you do the math. You're the kind of man who does the math. 3 beers. 1 round for the table. $29. You make $31,200 a year stacking lumber. $29 for the best 2 hours of your week. That's the best purchase available to you at any price. You will repeat some version of that calculation for the next 19 years. The numbers will change. The conclusion is what goes wrong. The following Friday. You buy the round back. Kowalski nods once. You would have paid double for that nod. At the end of the bar sits Denny. 54 years old. 26 years at Heartline. He drinks 4 beers at lunch and carries it so smoothly that carrying it is basically his job title. His hands shake at 9 o'clock in the morning. They're steady by 10:30. Nobody at the counter mentions the difference. It takes you 2 years to understand what happens at 10 o'clock. Everybody likes Denny. But you notice something. Nobody looks at him for very long. The rounds become a credit system wearing a party hat. Buy when it's your turn. Buy sometimes when it isn't. The ledger follows you. Skipping your turn twice gets noticed. Because around here, reputation is collateral. You already understand collateral. Your father ran his into the ground before his liver quit at 58. Your clearest memory of him is the driveway at 10 p.m. Headlights shining against the garage door. Engine running. Radio playing. A man who made it home. But couldn't finish the trip. He left you 2 things. A wind-up watch. And a thirst you haven't met yet. You wear the watch to work. It loses 7 minutes a week. You keep resetting it. And you keep wearing it because a man is allowed to love an inheritance. And ignore what it's telling him. Saturday mornings arrive with headaches you wear like receipts. And at 22, even the damage feels like membership. Friday becomes Friday and Tuesday. Then the schedule stops needing names. You think you found a bar. You found a door. Level 2, the tab. The routine assembles itself while you're not watching. The way interest does. 2 years in, you're off the forklift and behind the sales counter. Salary. $36,500. Your days have a shape now. Work. Riley's. Home. Not to get drunk. That's the version you'd argue in court. You go there to land. The drinks are runway lights. 3 most nights. 4 when the day was long. The day is often long. 1 January night, snow keeps you inside. You're bored. So you do something you won't do again for another decade. You pull your year's statements. And highlight every bar tab. Every liquor store. Every gas station 6-pack. Total. $4,180. You stare at the number. That's a used car, 4 months of rent. Then you do what the number requires. You decide the math is wrong. You close the laptop, and drive to Riley's. Because the drive itself answers the question you just stopped asking. Your savings account contains $61. You're not worried. Worry is one of the things the 3 drinks are for. That summer, You meet Renee at a cookout. She's a coworker's cousin. Her laugh sounds like a screen door. She drinks half a beer, abandons it in the grass, and forgets about it. You watch her leave it there like someone leaving cash on a sidewalk. You file it under personality. It takes years to understand. It was a species difference. On your third date, she orders 1 glass of wine, leaves a third of it, and drives you home. You crack the window, count streetlights, and think. She's the brakes. She thinks you're funny. You are somewhere between drink 2 and drink 4. You are the funniest man alive. So you start scheduling your life around that window. Then tolerance arrives. Quietly. Politely. Exactly like inflation. 3 drinks by what 2 used to. 4 by what 3 did. Same feeling. Higher price. So you cut costs. 2 drinks at home before meeting anyone. You tell yourself it's budgeting. It is. That's the problem. You've started running this like a business. And businesses grow. At Corner Liquors, Gus starts reaching for your 12-pack before you've crossed the parking lot. Friendly. Efficient. A regular's privilege. Some part of you, far below the part that talks, understands that you've just entered a system of record. Riley's gives regulars tabs. Settle up Friday. The first time your name goes on the clipboard behind the register, you feel something dangerously close to pride. You've been extended credit by a bar. It's the most honest loan you'll ever hold. At least this lender knows exactly what you're buying. Hangovers get a line item too. You call in sick twice in 1 quarter. 2 unpaid days. $290 each. Both days are spent promising the ceiling you'll cut back. The promise holds. Until 4:58. One morning, Denny finds you sweating through a lumber order. He watches you for a moment. Then gives you the only advice he'll ever give you about any of this. Eat something before. Not after. Then he pays for his lunch beers. And goes back to work. It's good advice. That's the worst part. At this level, all the advice is about how to keep going. Renee moves in that fall. She carries boxes upstairs. Hers rattle. Dishes. Picture frames. Yours clink. She laughs about it. You laugh too. Only one of you means it. Level 3, the expense account. The promotion arrives with a title. A territory. And a company card. The card is the part that matters. You're now in outside sales. $58,000 base. Plus commission. And a mandate nobody phrases honestly. Take the contractors out. Keep them happy. They don't pay you to drink. They pay for the drinks. You handle the rest. The distinction works. Right up until it doesn't. Suddenly, the thing you used to do for free becomes professional development. Steakhouse Tuesdays. Golf beers at 10 a.m. Tabs you sign without reading. $340. $520. Receipts become reimbursements. Reimbursements become numbers. And your numbers keep going up. You're good at this. And the alcohol is load-bearing. 2 rounds in. Contractors tell you their real budgets. Their real timelines. Which supplier burned them last year. You close on the 3rd round. Your best quarter buys the ring. Once. Then twice. You round a tab upward. $11 here. $14 there. Nothing anyone audits. What bothers you is how little it bothers you. You file that away too. You marry Renee in October. Open bar. That was your one non-negotiable. You called it generosity. You remember the ceremony frame by frame. Her hair. A toast. Your cousin's cologne. Then, a hard cut to morning. 11 hours gone. The first blackout of your life. And it happens at your own wedding. Renee says it was the best night of her life. You agree. Warmly. In detail. Working entirely from other people's photographs. You decide it was champagne. Empty stomach. The decision takes 4 seconds. You're getting faster at that. 2 years later, Grace is born. 6 pounds even. She grips your finger. For 1 clean week. The knot in your chest disappears on its own. No assistance required. You think. There it is. The cure. But the thirst doesn't disappear. It learns to schedule itself around a baby. You're a good father in the mornings. That's not nothing. You hold on to that like a bank statement. Weeknights become efficient. You stop buying $6 drafts. You buy the plastic handle of vodka. $13.99. 39 pours per bottle. 36 cents a drink. You calculate the unit cost right there in the aisle. And you're genuinely pleased with yourself. That's the tell you'll miss for years. Nobody calculates cost per unit on a hobby. That spring, Denny gets fired. 29 years. Heartline calls it restructuring. Everyone at Riley's buys him around. He takes his usual seat at the end of the bar. Except now. It's noon on a Wednesday. Every Wednesday. You look at him a half second too long. He catches you. Neither of you says anything. Because there's nothing to say. That isn't about 10 a.m. Then comes a Tuesday. Your biggest contractor is arriving at 9. And your hands won't stop shaking. A hum in the wires. Sweat without heat. Inside your truck console is an airport bottle. You don't remember buying it. Which means part of you planned for the morning. The rest of you refuse to schedule it. 8:41 a.m. 2 swallows. The hum stops. Your hands become your hands again. You give the best presentation of your career. Understand the level you're standing on. Because you'll live here for a while, the drink is no longer the reward at the end of the day. It's the floor the day gets built on. Level 4, the receipt. You keep 2 sets of books now, and you keep them carefully. The visible ledger, husband, father, top 5 sales representative, coach of Grace's T-ball team, the hidden ledger, the water bottle in the truck that isn't water, the mint tin, the mouthwash, the bottle behind the paint cans. And a second checking account. $200 from every paycheck. You tell the bank it's for surprising your wife. The lie comes out smoothly. They give you a toaster. Your day now organizes itself around dosage. First drink at 5:40 in the garage. Before you walk inside and become the husband. Level by 6. Topped off at 9 because sleep stopped coming unassisted about a year ago. Concealment has overhead. Cash at corner liquors because statements talk. Gas stations 2 towns over because Gus knows Renee's sister. 2 gym memberships. 1 you attend. 1 whose parking lot you attend. You're spending real money. To hide how much money you're spending. A tax on a tax. Some accountant-shaped corner of your brain files it under. Cost of goods sold. Functional. That's your word. And you polish it. Functional means the lawn is mowed. The quota is beaten. Nobody at Heartline can name 1 dropped ball. Functional is a credit rating for drunks. Yours is excellent. And every month. It costs a little more to maintain. Then the stop happens. Thursday. 3 blocks from your house. Client dinner. For drinks across 3 hours. You think you spaced them out. Rolling stop. Cones. Flashlight. You blow. .11. And suddenly. 1 drink over the line itemizes itself. Tow and impound. $380. Bail. $500. Lawyer. $5,200. Fine and court costs. $1,450. License reinstatement. $175. State class. $360. Interlock. $85 a month for 24 months. And the quiet one. The one that never makes movies. Insurance rises by $138 a month for 5 years. Total. A little over $19,000. The drink that caused it cost the company $9. Renee doesn't scream. You learn that marriages don't always collapse through shouting. Sometimes. They collapse through paperwork. She puts an interlock brochure on the kitchen table. Then asks 1 question. How long? You say. Just lately. She looks at you the way a bank looks at a forged signature. Not angry. Recalculating. You quit for 31 days. No meetings. No help. Just willpower and diet soda. Everyone tells you that you look great. Day 32 is Kowalski's retirement party. You have one beer. Exactly one. To prove a point. The relief isn't the alcohol. The relief is surrender. Within a month, the bottle is back behind the paint cans. And you're better at all of it now. Spacing. Mints. Eye contact. Grace draws the family for school. Stick mother. Stick father. Stick dog you don't even own. And in your hand, a small brown bottle. Drawn casually. Drawn like a fact. The way kids draw glasses on a father who wears glasses. Renee puts the picture on the refrigerator. You take it down 2 days later. You tell her the corner curled. It goes into your truck's glove box. Behind the registration. It stays there for 11 years. The two of you have entered a new arrangement. Unspoken. Binding. She pretends not to know. You pretend not to be known. It's the most expensive contract you've ever signed. And there isn't a number on it. But underneath all of it, a balance is building. Maintenance drinking has a balloon payment. And it's coming due. Level 5, the floor. The balloon payment doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives on a schedule. Like real debt. And every installment gets a date you'll remember forever. March 4th. The new regional manager rides along on your calls. Polite man. Haircut like an audit. Somewhere on Route 9. He reaches into the console for your water bottle. He uncaps it. Doesn't drink. Caps it. Puts it back. And talks about margins for another hour. Thursday. HR uses 2 words. For cause. 2 words that cancel severance. 16 years at Heartline. You're 38. They let you pack your desk alone. Whether that's mercy. Or evidence handling. You never find out. The water bottle rides home in the cup holder like a coworker who talked. April. Renee doesn't scream. She said everything years ago. In the language of paperwork. A folder waits on the kitchen table. Dates. Times. Notes. She's kept a file on you like you would keep one on a bad vendor. Supervised visits. Every other Saturday. A county building. Carpet the color of oatmeal. Grace is 12. She waves at you through a window with wire in the glass. You move into the Starlight Motel. Weekly rate. $260. Do the math. The watch goes to the pawn shop on Delaney. $90. For a $600 watch. The man wins it before placing it in the case. You hate him for the tenderness. It's still 7 minutes slow. So are you. September. Denny makes it to 71. The funeral is Tuesday. 9 people. 4 of you go to Riley's afterward. You drink to him. His stool at the end of the bar stays empty for 9 days. Then it doesn't. 26 years on that stool. The memorial is 9 days of vacancy. That's the pension this life pays. And you're fully vested. October. Your phone buzzes at 4 in the afternoon. You sleep through it. At 7. You listen to the voicemail. Grace. Dad, I have a solo Thursday. Clarinet. Second row. You play it 11 times. Thursday comes. You drive to the school 2 airport bottles deep. Just to steady your hands. You sit in the parking lot. Watch the doors. And don't go inside. Because she would hug you. And she would smell it. There are exactly 2 things left on earth you can still protect her from. And you're one of them. You check your balance. $916. Then the shaking starts Saturday morning. You find the hospital pamphlet beneath the seat. You dial the county number. Not because you believe in it. Because $916.16 doesn't cover anything else. Level 6, 1 day or day 1. The first thing they tell you at county detox is not to be a hero. The intake nurse says it flat. Like a fact of plumbing. Alcohol is one of the few drugs where quitting alone can kill you. Seizures. Complications. Death. Men try to white-knuckle it in motel rooms every week. Some never call anyone again, so you get a bed. Medication for the shaking. A check every 4 hours. And 5 days where your only job is letting your body renegotiate its chemistry under supervision. 5 days. Sliding scale. $180. You once spent that on a client lunch. And called it business. You'll spend the rest of your life deciding whether this, or the $6 beer, was the most consequential purchase you ever made. And it isn't close. The meetings are in a church basement on 4th Street. 7 p.m. Folding chairs. Coffee like a dare. The first thing you notice is the price. Nothing. No cover. No tab. No round to buy. 19 years of paying for the rooms you drank in. And the room where you stop is free. On night 3, Gene finds you. Men like Gene can smell day 3. Retired pipe fitter. 31 years sober. Forearms like Doc Rope. A voice that never hurries. He doesn't do slogans. He does arithmetic. 2 numbers. Days. Dollars you didn't spend. Write them down, he says. The hand has to do it. Not the head. So you keep a ledger again. Except this one is legal. Day 1. $28. Day 2. $56. The poison budget. Gene calls it $28 a day. Except now. It's revenue. $15 goes into a coffee can on the motel dresser. $13 goes into an envelope marked equipment. Gene says a man needs a use for his hands. That isn't holding a glass. You leave the tape on the coffee can blank for a week. You don't trust yourself to name it. Day 8. You write. Grace. Day 30. Gene makes you run the whole count. 19 years of direct spending. Low estimate. $114,000. DUI. $19,000. Hospital. $22,400. Insurance surcharges. Sick days. The job that paid $58,000 plus commission. Gone. You're 38. You stop itemizing somewhere north of $300,000. Give or take a marriage. Gene reads the number. Then gives you the only speech he'll ever give. You just proved you can put 30 grand a year into a project. He looks at you. Pick a better project. Step 9 feels like accounts payable. And for once, you're glad to be on the paying side. You remember the padded expense reports. You calculate them from memory. Round up to $300. Then mail Heartline a check. 1 line. They cash it. Somehow. That helps. You take a job on a 2-truck mowing crew. $14 an hour. Sweat like confession. At 4:58. The trailers are loaded. Everyone goes home. The first few Fridays. You sit in your truck in the parking lot. Engine off. Learning what an evening is. You've counted things your entire life. Pours. Minutes. Cents per drink. Now you count days. And it's the first count you've ever run. That compounds in your favor. 90 days. The chip is aluminum. Weighs almost nothing. You would fight someone who tried to take it. Level 7, the route. 14 months sober. The equipment envelope buys a used commercial mower. $340. A trailer. $900. You spend a Saturday with a wire brush. Cleaning someone else's grass off the deck. And it's the best afternoon you've had in a decade. 6 lawns. $45 each. Then 11. You file the LLC on a Tuesday. $125. Business name. Level Ground Lawn and Snow. You don't explain the name. The people who need to understand, do. Your first commercial account is a strip mall on Delaney. The anchor tenant is a law office. You recognize it. You once paid them $5,200. The lawyer recognizes you. Neither of you says anything. The contract is $410 a month. You show up like the mortgage depends on it. Because it does. Alvarez turns 63. His niece decides to retire. He sells you his second truck. And his Tuesday route. $9,000. He holds the note himself. $375 a month. You've seen this structure before. Take now. Pay later. Your name on the risk. Except this time. The person holding your paper wants you to succeed. Same instrument. different intent, and that turns out to be the entire difference between a trap and a ladder you hire from the basement on purpose. Not everybody. The ones doing the count. Leon is 11 months sober when he joins you. He arrives 20 minutes early every day. Then one Thursday in October. He disappears. You know that shape. You know it from the inside. 2 weeks later, he calls from day 3. His voice sounds like gravel. You tell him the trimmer is exactly where he left it. He comes back. He stays. Some doors you keep open. Because you remember everyone who shut them. Then winter arrives. Snow is the secret nobody tells lawn companies. Grass pays for 8 months. Plowing pays for 4. The first municipal lot contract is $2,200 a month from November through March. Now, a season becomes a company. 3 years in. Renee lets Grace ride with you alone. Nobody says the word. Interlock. And the absence of that word is the biggest promotion of your life. You've stopped promising her things. You just show up. Showing up turns out to be the entire currency. And for the first time, you're solvent in it. You walk back into the pawn shop on Delaney. $340 cash. The exact price of your first mower. The difference between the $90 they gave you and the $340 you pay to reclaim the watch is the interest rate on shame. You pay it. No negotiation. The watch still runs 7 minutes slow. You still reset it. Some inheritances you keep because you need to remember what they cost. 5 years sober arrives in June. The same month Grace graduates. You sit in the second row of the auditorium. Exactly where the clarinet solo happened without you, when she finds your face in the crowd. You hold up the program like a receipt. 2 crews become 3. Payroll every Friday. On time. Every time. Because you remember what it does to a man. When the money he's owed doesn't come. You used to build your days on a floor of vodka. Now, the floor is payroll. And it holds. Level 8, the coin. 14 years sober. Your workday still ends the same way. 2 numbers. Written by hand. Day 5113. The other number stopped being about vodka a long time ago. Level ground now runs 6 crews from a shop you own. 31 commercial accounts. County lots. 2 school districts. $1.9 million a year in revenue. Your accountant tells you that between the company, the building, and the accounts, you're worth a little over $2 million. You thank her. Drive to the shop, and fix a spreader bearing yourself. Because a man should stay fluent in his first language. Next to the time clock is a meeting list. Nobody has to read it. The thumbtack has been replaced 4 times. 20 years after you opened that first secret account. You open another. This time, you tell the bank the truth. The label matches the masking tape. Grace. 4 years of college come out of it. On time. Every semester. And when the final bill clears, you put the empty coffee can on the shelf above your desk. Dented. Tape gone soft. Still there. Some containers are load-bearing. Then, 11 years after it went into the glove box, you take out the drawing. Stick family. Stick dog you never owned. And the small brown bottle in your hand. Drawn like a fact. You frame it, bottle and all. And hang it in the shop office. When a new hire asks what it means, you tell him the truth. That's the most accurate financial statement anyone ever drew of me. Gene makes it to 43 years sober. Then dies on a Sunday. His boots are by the door. At the service, his daughter presses his sobriety coin into your palm. Worn smooth on both sides. Renee remarries. A man who bores you magnificently. And your gratitude for him has no floor. At Grace's wedding, the 3 of you stand together for one photograph. And it doesn't hurt. Nobody else in the frame knows the exchange rate you paid to be there. There's an open bar. You hold club soda with lime. And here's the fortune nobody can see. Not one person in that room is watching what you're holding. 14 years of Tuesdays bought you the right to be completely unremarkable at a party. It's the most expensive drink you never poured. The last level, the door. Riley's is still on the same corner. You still know the smell from the sidewalk. You don't test it. Then one Friday, 4:58 p.m., you're walking past a bar 2 towns over. The door swings open. And you hear it. Laughter. A shift whistle somewhere inside it. The exact sound. You look through the doorway. A warehouse crew stands at the rail. Work vests still on. And at the end of them, a kid, 22, maybe, hands in his pockets. Standing half a step outside the circle. The way you once stood. When you hadn't been invited anywhere yet. An older man puts a beer in front of him. Says something short. The circle opens. The kid steps inside. And you know. You know the temperature of that glass. You know the knot in his chest. You know the exact moment it will loosen. And you know that tonight. When he walks home. He'll do the math. And the math will come out beautiful. The first drink he ever loves. Is free. Maybe he's the kind of person who can leave half of it in the grass. Plenty are. There was never a way to tell. Not with him. Not with you. He thinks he found a bar. You stand there for one more moment. An older man checking a slow watch. You look down. 7 minutes. You said it right. Then walk away. Because you know what a door sounds like. You know what the free one costs. And somewhere behind you, a tab has just opened in his name.